So we now see the car of our Gnani coming in. This is the second day of Parayan. It is the 11th of September 2015 in Dadanagar Hall, just outside Simandar city, to the north of Simandar city, as the Gnani pulls in. And this is the day when the Parayan of Aptavani 13 is going to begin. It's morning over there in India. This is this live voiceover English translation is going on from United States. This is not the official version, but this is the informal version of the translation here. As the Gnani walks in, and he is in a hurry to climb up the steps of this Dadanagar hall, and we are welcoming everybody for this second day of the Parayan. Parayan means a detailed study of Aptavani. Aptavani 13 is the new one that's going to be studied as the Gnani approaches Lord Simandar, the fully enlightened Lord at Mahavidya Kshetra, and bows down, "Oh my Lord, I'm as pure as you are. I'm absolutely pure as you are. My highest namaskars to you, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevai," to Lord Krishna, the one who became the absolute from the beginnings of a mortal man and gave the phenomenal message of the Gita and the knowledge of liberation to everyone in the Gita, and to Om Namah Shivaya, that is the symbolic representation of all human beings who become the embodiment of salvations for everyone. Moving rapidly over to Gnani Purush Dadashri and flowers to him, and also bowing down to him as we come to and I'm trying to find where our sound is. And so the, and so now he takes seat. Excuse me. So again, this is the Parayan, Parishan Parayan. Parishan, a special 8-day period during the year which is unique to the Jain faith. However, in Akram Vignan, it has got a special meaning where we undertake detailed study of books of Gnani Purush Dadashri. And the Parayan is the detailed study through the vision of the awakened one and through the vision of the Gnani. And this is the second day of the Parayan in the morning session on the 11th of September. And the book Aptavani 13 is going to be undertaken. And I'm told that he is going to read the Samarpan, which is the special poem that Pujya Niruma has written when this Aptavani 13 was first unveiled in July of 2002 in Chicago as Jai Sachidanand. I bow to the Absolute Self, the Paramatma who resides within you, with deep devotion and oneness. Jai Sachidanand. Aptavani 13. We are now commencing that. There is the Prakruti part is magnificent. The Prakruti is separate from the self, so it is called the non-self complex. And by looking at his own Prakruti, the Gnani Purush Dadashri described all aspects of the Prakruti for the world. And it's very beautiful. We'll begin with the Samarpan. We will read the Samarpan. Jai Sachidan. Samarpan means the surrender vidhi, this absolute surrender. For infinite lifetimes, I was looking for the light of the self, and because I could not find it, he's reading it really fast. By the way, the meaning of this has been separately provided by me on an audio link, and so Purushartma Pratnapami, Dur Thayo Ankar. The exact meaning I have provided through an audio link earlier today on the, one was searching for, he's describing in detail, one was searching for his own real self for infinite previous lifetimes, and despite enjoying all the pleasures of this life, he remained sad. One remained sad. But Dada changed the original vision and made him come beyond bhaav karma and dravya karma, the charge karma and the subtle discharge karma. And in the no karma, the Prakruti is considered no karma, the overt. Bhaav karma is called causal Prakruti, and no karma is called effect Prakruti. And by making you sit in the Shuddhatma, the pure soul, and then he proceeds, only one Pudgal was seen of the self, and Sada Tis Keval Gnan Swarupatma. Now the ultimate science of this has been given. One is actually the knower and the seer of all of this. Even one is the knower of the knower, really. There is the knower of the one who is relative, and this absolute self is the knower of the knower. And that is the Paramatma state. Oh, wow, great. Dada has given this magnificent Akram Vignan. No previous scripture or previous Gnani has unveiled such a science. And for eras and eras of time, the fragrance of Dada on the spiritual realm will continue to blossom. He is neither of the past nor of the future. Such a one will never happen. Was never happened in the past nor will ever happen in the future. And he's just finishing it off now. There, these are words of Niruma written in July of 2000. Niruma. For the purposes of Jagat Kalyan, this Aptavani 13 is being now given to the world, and through the right understanding, through the right understanding, he understands that he is the ocean of bliss, he is the ocean of eternal bliss within, and this is being now surrendered to, he says, he is never in the past, never in the future. Such a Gnani Purush presented in 1958. Previously, there used to be Tirthankars only, but in the current era of the time cycle, the fifth era, in the Kali Yuga, in this world of ours, to have such a Gnani is a wonder of all wonders. Now we are reading the editorial of Niruma. With reference to the experience of the soul is very, very special. Is and in order to attain completion of the state of the soul, one needs to know much more the science of Prakruti, to see the non-self complex, the science of karma, the role of prajna, rag, dvesh, attachment, abhorrence, kashayo, and the absolutely independent self, and also the absolute state of the self, and then gross subtle body, and causal body, all of these, and the underlying secrets of all of this. One has to know it in totality. So until one gets the total experience of all of these that have been mentioned, one cannot understand the totality of Akram Vignan. And who else except an Akram Vignani can share this all with us? Even after the awakening of to the self, we need to understand the science of Prakruti. We need to understand the science of karma. We need to understand all other aspects of the science of Akram Vignan, and having known it all, then we become, then there is the end of Akram Vignan. And the previous Gnanis, whatever they said, exists in scriptures, and those Gnanis said it according to the time and the space at that particular time, but it does not fit in the current era of the time, and therefore, and it is really nature has provided this Akram Vignani of Gnani Purush Dadashri, where he, in whom the absolute Dada Bhagwan manifest, and therefore through his experience we are all gaining it. This is the law. Everything, the speech of all Gnanis, they are all appropriate to the location and the time in which they manifest. You see, and the language also is appropriate at that time. And this is how, and that is how they really grant the knowledge of the soul, as well as this knowledge of liberation. And so, accordingly, whatever is necessary, this is what is available. According to the needs of the current time and the current location of human beings. And so then there is file. So the Gnani Purush gave Prakruti, file, relative, real, vyavasthit, you see. And so he gave, so these words of the Gnani Purush Dadashri fit a person exactly, you see. So this is, and the absolutely revered Gnani Purush Dadashri has never written anything. However, it is only through his naturally flowing words, of which he is not at all the owner. Then these were captured in audio cassettes, and then they will put together. And then the Aptavanis were compiled out of those audio cassettes, and 12 volumes are already out. Niruma is saying for this volume 13 that now this volume 13 is now being presented in the volume 1, volume 2 parts of it. This Deshna is the speech that of which there is no owner, whereas lower levels is called Adesh, where a person is actually preaching. Whereas this is beyond any kind of preaching. It is the speech of which there is no owner, there is no ego associated with those words. You see, when whatever he spoke is exact, but then whoever is, but in the cassettes, of course, the exact ones were captured, the exact words were captured, and they were rewritten. And then, we have there is so much talk as in the 20 to 25 years, whatever Gnani Purush Dadashri spoke over the years, this is all gathered, and then they were all compiled together, and subsequently in various parts of the book they have been put together. And so he might have spoken in isolated collections here and there, but in one chapter we get the exact total perspective in one specific. So now we have a chapter on bhaav karma, dravya karma, and no karma, charge karma, subtle discharge karma, and gross discharge karma, and therefore we get the total experience of it all. And now Niruma continues that you see, but but it is everything is the speech of the Gnani is dependent on the nimit that he is speaking to. However, the exact understanding sometimes can get changed as it moves from the direct connection with the Gnani Purush Dadashri. For instance, supposing it is written, somebody says, "Go call your mom." Now we don't know who this is addressed to. Is this being addressed to somebody else's wife, or is being addressed to one's own wife? You see, so this is the way it is. If the sentence "Go call your mom" could be applied to a man telling a young girl, "Go call your mom," or the dad could be saying, "Go call your mom." See, and so everything is the speech of the Gnani Purush came out on the basis of the nimit that was in front of him, the evidence, the human evidence that was in front of him. And so now to try to get together to see how it fits into the total context of what was in the heart of the Gnani Purush Dadashri, and how to really kind of provide it to the listener and to the seeker and to the Mahatma, it requires a very special kind of editing capabilities and collection capabilities, and obviously is obviously the work of, and so this is, and so it has been recorded in this way. And so two people are talking, and so then put it in editing, and then share it with others, and as we read it again, then we all should be able to kind of understand exactly what was being conveyed without any distortion. And so behind all of this, there is, of course, what we gain behind all of this is the original vision of the Gnani, as if he was talking to us live, and so therefore we can understand his Aptavani's in exactness. The elemental science of the self, or of all the eternal elements of the self, these are very difficult to describe. But you see, but the Gnani kind of comes down from his extreme heights to our levels, and then through words he tries to make us explain all of this. What is the original vision? Which is, how can the original vision come to our own understanding and our own experience? The Gnani is talking from the level of the top of the mountain, but then and we are in the valley, but he comes down to our level, you see. But as the more you ask the questions to the Gnani, the more the Gnani will try to tell you that as you rise higher and higher up the mountain, you will be able to see it as I am seeing it. But because for infinite time and infinite previous lives, one has gone in the wrong direction, far away from the vision of the self, and therefore the Gnani Purush is there to really share it with us in exactness. And so whatever kind of questions arise within us, that is, those kind of questions, the Gnani Purush is able to answer the questions with perfect resolution to any question of any human being of this universe, of this world. And this Akram Gnan, therefore, is very, very fortunate, merit-laden. Mahatmas have really attained this Akram Vignan, but even then there are some very subtle talks that are rather difficult to understand, and sometimes it might appear controversial. However, actually not a single word of the Gnani Purush is out of place. So it is very important not to kind of move it or turn it or kind of tilt it or can displace it, but rather importance should be given to the attention should be given to try to find out from the vision of the Gnani. The Gnani's vision should be understood from somebody who is a Gnani. For example, if you are in sometimes the Gnani has used the word railway station and railway platform synonymously. We know that both are applicable to the same thing. However, so in the same way, so initially it might appear controversial. However, it is the description of the same thing that is happened at the railway station or the railway platform. You see, the words are used. You might suppose, so only a few people may have been to Russia or Antarctica, but you see, the matters of the soul, in whatever previous lifetimes somebody has experienced in totality, that to kind of share and share with us those experiences at the palpable level and at an experiential level is the feat of a magnificent Akram Vignani only, you see. But through the grace of Gnani Purush Dadashri, the Gnanvidhi that happens, and the the awakening that happens, and the liberation that begins, and the Pragna Shakti that begins, is a magnificent phenomenal happening. Now, question somebody is asking. Dadashri is speaking from the top of the mountain, you just said. Everybody has got different levels and different levels along the mountain or in the valley. How can they really understand exactly what's going on? And the Deepakbhai says he will understand it at his own levels only. At his own level, the seeker understands. Everybody's kashais are decreasing. Everybody's awareness is increasing. Everybody has got the firm conviction that Ishvin Rainezile, I'm pure soul, Eoso Amapura. And so everybody understands it in his own ways, and everybody is in the Purusharth of progressing higher and higher. He has given us such a science that every human being who receives this Gnanvidhi understands it at his own level and moves forward on the path of ultimate liberation or nirvana or absolute knowledge. So this is a very magnificent Vignan or science. And so, but he has given us a lot of different kinds of understanding. And so, everybody understands the Prakruti at 135 pages of it. Somebody will understand 2 matters, somebody will understand 6 matters, somebody will understand 7 chapters, etc. So this is chapters of Prakruti. There are 10 divisions. This is because this is a principle. It is an incontrovertible principle, Siddhant. It's to move from the hurtful to the harmful, to the helpful, it is relative, whereas this one is the incontrovertible principles that lead to the absolute only. He has become the absolute self himself, and you see, in fact, everyone is becoming the pure soul and absolute soul himself. And so he is because of his own experience that happens in the Gnanvidhi, therefore it all begins on an autopilot level internally. And the Prakruti has got thousands of kinds of thoughts and speech and conduct, etc. But when everybody understands that I'm separate from Prakruti, everybody understands that I'm pure soul only, and therefore is able to understand that Prakruti is separate, the non-self complex is separate. And he has given us in both levels. He has also given us the Vyavaharik or the worldly interactive vision, as well as the vision of the soul or the self. At the worldly interactive level, he has given us instruction, beautiful satsangs and unfolding vision. And at the level of the self, he has given us the vision which can never be negated and is absolutely untouched. Fine. And through different nimits, the speech of Dada has come on out through different intentions, and this has been put together and edited together from about Prakruti. 1 to 100 matters percent talk has come out, but because of different nimits asking the questions, it would feel as if there is some repetition, or but really, but every time you read this particular Aptavani, the reader will have increasing understanding, and one would even feel as if Dadashri is talking to me only, myself only. Yes, these are all. This is the solutions come in the form of questions and answers, and every time it unfolds, it takes you deeper and deeper and higher into the realm of the self only, separate from the Prakruti. But despite this, to understand what is in the heart of the Gnani is very, very rare. However, Deepakbhai says this is the path of grace. We are in the agnas of Dada. We are also studying the words of Dada, and the more we study the words of Dada, more grace will be there for us, and then the more understanding will be there. In this, there is, for the same thing, different kinds of words have come out in Gnani Purush Dadashri. Sometimes there's the words, for instance, the word Prakruti, Pudgal, ego is used for the same thing, or sometimes the word I is used for the ego as well. I is also used for the absolute self also. So for instance, in the Ho, I, Bhavo and Mangaldas, it is used very specifically as the absolute self only. So really, everybody should, whatever understanding you get, you should always make sure that it put a comma in it. Do not put a full stop. You see, because whatever you think you have understood, if you put a full stop, you will stop learning. But if you put a comma, then it will continue. The vision will continue to open up for you. And this is exactly how it is. And when you get the absolute experience of the self, of the absolute self, the total experience of the clear and distinct experience of the self that you are, then of course the understanding and will be totally different. In the current volume, there is talks about dravya karma and all kinds of understanding about, the scriptures have a lot of talk about dravya karma. However, Gnani Purush Dadashri has made it very, very simple, in simple, concise words, and in very easily understandable words, and therefore it becomes and so. And the Gnani says, for your path of liberation, you only need this much. You don't need to know the whole encyclopedias of scriptures that is out there. So you don't need to worry about that. Whatever is necessary for your direct moksha, easy liberation, then that is what exactly the Gnani has given you. Here Gnani says, this is bhaav karma, this is dravya karma, yellow glasses, this is no karma, this is the visible karma, and and he gives simple examples so that you and I can understand that. At many places, the Gnani Purush Dadashri has used the soul as the knower seer, and sometimes he has, and other times he has used the word prajna. You see, so what is it? And so the prajna is a representative of the absolute self only until the person attains the absolute self. For example, there are certain types with reference, there is prajna comes again and again, and it feels like there is repetition of the word prajna. However, at the more subtle level, every time there is in the anatomical portions of the body, for instance, and so human biology is studied at the level of the high school. It is studied at the level of the medical school, and it is studied at the level of the research in medicine. So then it is all at different levels of understanding. So whereas the original principles of liberation are such that they are exactly as they are, and there is no change in them. You see, now many times Dadashri with very deep, when he expresses very deep secrets, the reader will find it depressing that, oh, when will I ever understand all of this? However, Dadashri says that all I'm telling you is you just have to understand this. You do not have to try to bring it into your conduct. You see, otherwise you'll have a new ego will arise because you want to bring it into your conduct. Once your understanding is perfect, then automatically it will come in your conduct. So continue to understand, that is all. And if you don't understand, then ask for the energies from Dada to get the energies to understand it. And also make the very firm decision that, oh Dada, I want to understand your science in precision and exactness, and that I want to understand it. And right now I'm in 5 agnas and I'm pure soul, and that I want to really enter into the continuous purusharth of the soul only. For countless lives, the seekers have believed that they have to become pure themselves. However, and that I have to get rid of the impurity. I have to purify my chit. But who has to do this? I have to do it. I have to do this. Whereas Dadashri says in his experience of speech that, the one who dirties it and soils it is the non-self complex, the Pudgal, and also the one who clears it up is also the Pudgal. There is a special chapter in Aptavani 13 on this. You are only the pure knower and seer of all of this, that is either dirtied or cleaned. That's all. It is just the wrong belief that has arisen. That is why all of these things have, and because of the wrong belief, there is infinite disease that has arisen. However, Akram Vignani Dadashri, in just only 2 hours, he gets rid of the wrong belief and gives you the exact continuous conviction and also the awareness of I'm pure soul, and then otherwise. But however, the residual wrong beliefs that remain after the Gnanvidhi, they have to be approached in the precise manner and understanding so that they do not bother you even after the Gnanvidhi. And therefore, that's why it takes one, and it is through this Dada's speech that you're going to be able to do this, and this you will attain one more life before final liberation. This, therefore, in Aptavani 13, Dadashri has gone beyond wonders, but as he gives us the last and the ultimate science in Aptavani 13. And you see, and because if you understand Aptavani 13, then you will remain in the state of the Gnani continuously. Aptavani 1 to 14 have been the work, the task of the production and the publishing of 14 Aptavanis was handed over by Dadashri as an Agna to Dr. Pujya Niruma and Deepakbhai. And you see, but yes, the original Gnani is that I'm pure soul, and the 5 Agnas is everything. But in order to understand the science in precision, these Aptavanis, then the study of these Aptavanis is extremely helpful. Yes. For instance, if you want to reach Simandar city in Adalaj, then you see, you really need to know. First of all, you will have to come to the city of Ahmedabad, and then you'll have to come to the Ahmedabad-Kalol highway, and then on the Sarkej Gandhinagar, the square circle, then near the Baga petrol pump, and then there is the Tri Mandir Sankul, and then when you come enter the gate, that is when you enter the Simandar city. So therefore, in the same way, these Aptavanis are the exact, precise roadmap for you to enter the absolute self only. And this is the Jai Sachidanand of Dr. Niruben Amin. And then this is the editorial of Dr. Niruma. And Niruma says, I'm going to remain in Simandar city forever. She said that. And so now she is in Simandar city. And I will always remain in Simandar city. That's what she said. And so Niruma's presence is there. Now let us go slow because we get so excited that we read very fast. The gentleman was reading some very important stuff of Niruma very fast, but now you get so carried away that your speech just goes so fast. Okay, so now instead of taking the expressway, let us take the Bapuni Gadi. Mahatma Gandhi used to be called Bapu by the nation, and Bapuni Gadi means he used to always travel by 3rd class and take the local train, so it will stop at all the railway stations on the railway lines in India, and thus he could meet the human beings there. Now, everybody should read this. Upodgad. Now he is skipping the preface of Niruma, where she has done the summary. Deepakbhai instructs that you should read the preface of Niruma before you read the content of Gnani Purush Dadashri. If you do not understand the direct satsang of Gnani Purush Dadashri in Q&A, then take the help of Niruma, who has written the Upodgad, otherwise known as the preface, which is the comprehensive summary. And also in it, there is her vision, which is added to this satsang that actually happened, which is compiled, from different locations and different limits and different intentions. So after 13th Purvad, Volume 1, Chapter 1.1, so how is Prakruti formed? Subtle science of Prakruti. We have the book of Prakruti available for those who need it, and I have shared it a number of times on Facebook. Subtle science of Prakruti. Questioner: Dada, what is Prakruti? Dadashri says Prakruti means that which was formed through the false projection of the self. One keeps saying, I am Chandubhai, when the reader should substitute his name for Chandubhai, and then he says, I did it. That indeed is considered the installing or the instilling of the life, pratishtha, into an image or an idol or a person, murti. This murti is in the form of a body. One has done pratishtha, instilled life in it, giving rise to a pratishthitatma or a relative or a charged self, and it gives fruit in the next life. The gentleman is still reading very fast. Just as doing pratishtha in this murti idol gives fruit, this body too gives fruit exactly like that. It is because this is an exact murti. Then the fruit, the Prakruti, does not remain under our control. It will keep giving fruit. Hence, that is indeed our own kruti or creation, born out of aGnanta, ignorance of the self. The original the original thing, one comes into the pratishthitatma, but it is a self, out of ignorance, believes that I am this body, and in whatever body he has, he believes I am this body. Whatever the name is, he thinks this is I am this name, and then he says I am this name and this body, and then he says I am doing it, and from that a new idol is created, a new body is created, and then it gives its result, and then the result is called Prakruti. This is the exact Prakruti, the formed complex. So it has not been for, it is the original self has not made it, but the one with the wrong belief has created it. You see, if there is a sofa set, and if you sit on it, but you see the sofa, the chair, does the chair in which Deepakbhai is sitting says that I am the stage? No. He just believes that I am the stage, but he does not know that it is being supported by the stage below it. This, and the sofa set or the chair believes that I am the stage. You see, the stage is in its own place. The chair, the sofa set is in the same place. You know, the easy chair and with the green one that Deepakbhai is sitting on, it is in its own place. The sofa has its own qualities of the easy chair, however, but its belief changes. You see, the Prakruti, you are creating a new idol by installing life, you see. I am Chandubhai, I am over, I am Dada, I am Unisi, and therefore you're installing life into it, you see. And so there is a new part of belief that arises because of proximity, you see. And therefore, you know, just like, therefore he says, then he does the pratishtha or the installation. I am good, I am smart, I am better, I am superior, I know more, I am, you see, etc. And since so whatever speech is being said and whatever thoughts are there, and then at the subtle level, there is that I shouldn't do this and I should do this, and so all kinds of I need to tell him off, I need to be nice to him, I need to behave like this with him, etc. All of these things are all constant pratishtha, all constant life installation is happening at the causal level in the causal body, and it is charging. And you see, and supposing you say, I have to be strong and firm with him, I have to really tell him off, and so, and that entire Prakruti, then discharge Prakruti is formed, you see, and so then in the next life he will be angry and upset with the other person, and he will, and so he will, you know, so he will continue to try to improve the other person by scolding him in the next life, because in the previous, and by saying that I need to do this and I do that, again he enters into doership, and therefore he creates a new idol, a new image, a new body complex for the next life. It has not happened from the soul. The soul has not done it, and the I has done it. Pote means the one means the soul has not done it. Pote means the one with the belief. The one who believes I am this has done it. You see, because of the proximity to in contact with something else, a new thing. So then the fruit, the Prakruti does not eat. So hence it is indeed our own kruti born out of aGnanta. The self has not created it. It was formed by two things coming together through vishesha bhaav, the new extra intent that happened, and that intent is not the property of either two. So did this Prakruti arise by coming together of the Jad and Chetan? Dadashri says, yes, the Parmanus, the subatomic particles of Jad or matter, come together with the self, and therefore this came about. Ego, anger, pride, deceit, and greed arise. Anger and pride give rise to ego, and deceit and greed result in mamata or minus. This in turn give rise to this Prakruti or the energized non-self complex, you see. The sofa set believes that I am the stage, but he just is, but he is a sofa, but he also believes that he is the stage, and that is called the extra intent, you see, extra view. When there is a performance, then the stage will say, this is I performed, you see. It is really so, you see, in other words, I am Chandu, I am Uva, I am Eduardo, and I am doing this. These are the two major illusions, you see. It is called, in the beginning, it's called the causal Prakruti. And as soon as the vibhav arises through anger, pride, deceit, and greed, you see, and rag, dvesh, attachment, then the subatomic particles get charged, and then when the anger arises in Prakruti, then it is called the discharge anger, then it is the discharge attachment, it's the discharge deceit, that's the discharge greed, etc. And then it gives the result. And then when it results and when it happens to you, then he says, oh, it's happening to me, so he creates a new Prakruti. But when he comes to the understanding that no, I'm the absolute, I'm the pure soul only, then I'm separate from this Prakruti, then a new Prakruti does not arise. And the Prakruti means that which does not have any Chetan in it, does not have any self in it, discharges and will vanish, will go away. One is the self. One is the self, but being ignorant of the self, an illusion arose, which is the belief that I am Chandubhai, I did this, and therefore a new living form, Putudu, individual, person, non-self complex of mind, speech, and body had been created. This is called the extra intention, you see. Because of the pressures of the circumstances, the new belief arises. Nobody is the doer in it. You see, so nobody is doing it. It is just happening. It is just happening due to the pressures of the circumstances. Now, one did not create it. It just happened. When these two, the Jad and the Chetan, become separate, new Prakruti stops from being formed. That is all. This is what happens to us. We get separate from Chandu, file number 1, and therefore I am separate from, and Prakruti is separate, and therefore that is all. Prakruti means the form, person, Putudu without the self as capital, the Chetan. You see, this entire form complex is Prakruti. It will give its result and then it will disappear. You see, it will finish. And so, Prakruti is that where there is no Chetan at all, there is no self at all. There is only the belief Chetan. Chetan means the knower seer. You see, and the Chetan means the knower seer. There is only the belief Chetan only. I believe that I am the soul. However, that is not the soul. You see, it's just the one. This illusion that has arisen from the relation between the two, that I am doing this, am I doing this or who is doing this? Then he has accepted that I am the one who is doing this. There is really no one else beside me. Who else can do it? This extra result or the Vishesh Parinam arises from two things, the Jad and the Chetan, the non-self and the self. The self being the knower, the non-self being the non-self complex coming together. This is the Vishesh Parinam. This Vishesh Parinam, the extra result, is the Prakruti. That means a combination. That you see, this is called the Prakruti, and then it will give its effect. You see, somebody is asking, when two things get together, a new Prakruti arises. Question. The questioner is. We talk about 15 more lifetimes. Whatever is left, it will come in front of us. Because he is not remaining 100% separate, then he doesn't have to do 15 more lifetimes. You see, so in other words, you see, if he remains 40% separate, then 60% is still pending, right? Remaining. And therefore, you see, this is the way that so maximum 15 lives, minimum one more lifetime before final liberation. You see, it is in his belief, but it does not remain in his experience that I am absolutely pure soul. This is because of diminution in his awareness or jagruti. But Gnani Purush Dadashri just calls it the charitra moha or the discharging moha or the discharging illusory attachment. That is all. Just and 15 lives is nothing when one has had infinite previous lifetimes. So you see, it really doesn't matter. So you see, if somebody is not giving you your money back for 7 years and he now tells you that I'm going to give it back to you in 15 days, will you not be very happy? So this is how it is. And when the scripture writers say the Kshayak Samkit, that means absolute dissolution, absolute right vision. The one with the absolute right vision or understanding, he will definitely have absolute knowledge or kevad gnan in future. That is a guarantee. And we all Mahatmas have received absolute right vision. We do not have any decreasing or increasing right vision. We have the perfect absolute right vision. Shayat Samkit. So, yes, so we are all our go downs, all our warehouses are going to empty, soon. Well, Prakriti is going to empty soon. When will Prakriti will be empty? Whatever happens, whatever Ketan may do in worldly interaction, you have to understand that it belongs to Ketan, it's not yours. You see, in other words, you keep the exact separation, but you say, why did he insult me? Why is she doing this to me? Why is she treating me like this? Why is he doing like this? Then you are weak, because you are not keeping it separate, you are not keeping it in exactness. So then it will come again to you for testing, and then you should be aware. Supposing you have eaten a piece of bread, you should, if you ate it out of the lack of this exact awareness of separation, then again second time when you eat bread, you will have to understand that the eater is eating bread and I, the non-eater, is simply the knower of that. That is all, and that is a file that is being settled with equanimity. But we are not putting any new imposition or attribution of this in the, because, but you see, the way in which we had the view and with which we had created the Prakriti in the last life is the view, is exactly how this Prakriti will unfold in this life. With Jeva Bhave, with the way, with the kind of view and the intention and the intensity with which the causal body was formed, that is the intensity, and with that Kashai, it will unfold in this life. Supposing you have a very hot steel ball and you put it on a hot plate on it, and within 1 hour it will become a red hot steel ball. Now when you turn off the heat, it will take few hours before the red color comes to the original color of steel. You see, it sucks up the heat, you see, and it becomes red hot. In the same way, the Prakriti sucks up everything out of the soul as well as of the non-soul, and it will just, and it will behave as if it is the soul only. However, but you see, now the one who separates from it knows that even if it's red hot and doing all kinds of dances in life, good or bad, it is of the non-self complex, and this is how it was charged, this is how it was heated up in the last life, and this is how it is going to heat up again and discharge. And as long as you remain in the awareness and the line of demarcation between the self and the non-self, then you will not be affected at all. You see? You see? Somebody has to work in the kitchen day in and day out of all her life, because she has to. The man has to work day in and day out all his life in the office in a small cubicle. Well, that is how it was filled in the Prakriti in the last life. You see? The engineer does his engineering of mechanical, or in civil engineering, the doctor does his surgery, or his brain surgery, or his neurosurgery, or his ophthalmological surgery, whatever. And the lawyer does all his attending of his courts and pleading her cases in front of the court, etc. This is what was filled in a previous life. This is how I want to deal with human beings, you see. You see? You see? In the last life, he had charged his belief that, all I have to do is use my words and intellect, and I make big money. I don't care how I make it, but I will do it through pleading in court. And in this life, he does all kinds of pleading in court to make money as a lawyer. Whether it is good or bad is irrelevant. This is how it happens. So this entire chapter of Prakriti, this 138 pages of Prakriti are there in front of us now. Prakriti, and whatever is happening, I'm not this in front of me, this non-self complex, I'm not the doer of it. Who am I? I'm the pure soul only. That is all. That is the essence of it all. And what will be the nature of our Prakriti in the next life? On the basis of 5 Agna and the settlement of the file with equanimity, there is a subtle doership there, because Vyavasthit is the doer, but you still become a subtle doer in certain level, and therefore, and then also one says, I do want to follow the Agnas, I want to follow the Agnas, a subtle level of doership in that, and therefore a subtle leakage of causal karma and their karma, and therefore there will be a causal effect body in the next life. Don't you think you like my Prakriti a little bit better than your Prakriti? but there are even better Prakruti than mine, says Deepakbhai says. So there is, so there, if there is some contact with some Gnani, then it continues to improve. You see the Prakruti. This is, so we continue to get very high level, progressively improving Prakrutis. Yes, but the current Prakruti will be all over, and there will be an extraordinary out of this world Prakruti. And one will not be interfering with anyone in the next life. He'll be very straightforward and smooth, and he'll be constantly at the feet of the Gnani and at the surrender to the Gnani only. And and he will be around the absolutely enlightened one. In March, April, you'll see a lot of mangoes on the tree. However, in June, you will not see a single mango on the tree. So, everything that is out there will go away in the Prakriti. You don't need to be worried about, when will this Prakriti with all kinds of junk and negative stock that is there in the Prakriti. I don't know when it will finish. I don't know when it will finish. But you don't have to be worried about it anymore. You see, when you get a tough Prakriti in front of you, it will clear out your problems in a hurry. It will clear out your files in a hurry. You see, we know that the time that whether it's a man or a woman, at the time when he or she is leaving this world, at the time of death, they are in absolute samadhi. Are they not? Some absolute bliss, are they not? They are in total peace at the relative level and internal bliss continuously. So they have a samadhi death. So Dada, having met Dada, Dada has made a Sayak Samkiti Prakruti. So do we have to just kind of accept it as face value? You see, do we have to? You see, it's many women who is not, and many women who is not a Jain gets married to a Jain. Within a day, she becomes a Jain after getting married to a Jain man. Does she not? She may be a Krishna follower, but if she marries a Jain husband, then Jain man who is Jain, her husband is Jain, does she not become a Jain within a day? In the same way, within one day, within 2 hours only, you get married to this pure soul and you become the pure soul, do you not? And so this is now, Dada has given you the new knowledge. And Dada is nothing but the priest that got you married to your pure soul, you see? Yes. You see? So, after a woman gets married to the man, she'll say, no, now this is my home. I'm not going to leave this home. Just because she spent, just after the marriage ceremony, she starts owning the home of the husband, does she not? No. She says, I do not, the sense that there are Shayak Samkit means total annihilation of Kashais, total destruction of Kashais. She says it does not prevail for me. Now she's speaking for herself. She is not speaking for the rest of the Mahatmas of Gnani Purush Dadashri. You see, Dadashri said, I have made you Shayak Samkit, and she's saying it does not prevail for me. So these are all the modifications of the question. Okay, so now Deepakbhai says, no, then read Aptavani, study Dadavani and study Aptavanis and you will understand more. She does not know how to get along with her mother-in-law or the daughter-in-law, then read the Dadavani and you will say, one day you will get it in exactness. Every mother-in-law was a daughter-in-law someday in her life, was she not? And then she becomes a mother-in-law, and then she really exercises her mother-in-law on the young daughter-in-law, on the wife of her own son, you see. So now this kind of cause and effect and all the pain giving cycle continues between the mother-in-law and the daughter-in-law. The person who is Shayak Samkit, should the qualities not be apparent in that person at the relative level, she is asking? Suppose if Prajna is angry, then would you not be upset? Look at what has manifest inside you, not within the external Prajna that you are talking about. What is, supposing you hurt somebody, well, do you like it at all? You don't like it, do you? That means you are Kshayak Samkit. You are non-violent. You are beyond Kashais, are you not? That is your part. Hang on to that part. Don't worry about what is happening to Prajna at the relative level, at the external level. Dada is only changing your causal situation. He is not changing your causal understanding. He is not trying to change your external conduct, which is an effect. You see, it is not going to change. Your Prakruti is not going to become Shayak Samkit. You see, your Prakruti is not going to become Shayak Samkit instantly, but from within, your knowledge is Shayak Samkit. Shayak Samkit means absolute right vision. It is an absolute right vision. It is not an absolute right conduct. It's not absolute charitra, you see. So anyway, therefore, we need to be focused on the Purusharth, progress of the self through the awakened awareness only, Jagruti Rupi Purusharth. And so we need to be aware that Philemon made this such and such mistakes today. And you see, but you don't you ever believe that it is I did it or it happened to me? Otherwise, you get sucked up into the Prakruti again, and you lost it. You know, you make prajna, you make file one do pratikraman for this kind of wrong entry into and muddying up the line of self versus non-self. How can you be so confident about all of this, Deepakbhai? You have so much confidence and purusharth and jagruti and awareness, and you can see, because you came with a pencil and a book, Aptavani 13 here, that means I'm passing you here. How can you be so confident about us, Deepakbhai? And because the answer Deepakbhai gave was exact. That's, they focus on your internal state, not what on the external state. This is a totally different internal science. You know, if you take water from the gutter and if you put two electrodes in it, will you not be able to purify the water? Do you really have to do something to purify the water in the gutter? You see. In science, there is no purusharth. The science automatically is. Jagruti, the awareness is the purusharth. But if purusharth means to remain separate from the Prakruti, that is all. But you are aware as to how much we do this also. Do you want to become absorbed in the Prakruti or do you want to remain separate from Prakruti? That is the most important. What is your decision? Do you want to be absorbed in the Prakruti, as the Uve, as the Nada, as the Katya, or do you want to remain separate from the Prakruti? This is very important. From your level, you should be saying that, oh, Dada will not be happy with the kind of Purusharth that I'm doing. Dada, because I'm seeing others at fault, I'm finding faults with others, I'm getting hurt in small matters, I'm getting extra sensitive, I'm interfering in the life of others, I'm backbiting, I'm using words that are hurtful, etc. So all of this, that is where you know that Dada will not be happy with you. So, but you write down anything. Even if you can't write anything, then write Dada Bhagwan Nasim Jai Jaikar Ho, and then we will decide for you. But we will. It's VVPS, Vidhi Vanchan Pratikraman Samayik. Vidhi means Vidhis of the Charan. Vidhis. Vanchan means reading Dada Vani. Pratikraman and Samayik everybody knows. This is a kind of, this is the prescription given after the awakening. We have to find out what are the mistakes of the Prakruti, in which direction is the Prakruti is making the mistakes, why is she making the mistakes, what are the reasons why it is making the mistakes. But we understand our Prakruti through our own understanding, she says. Yes, through your own understanding, you will gain some experience, and then you will, if your bliss increases and your suffering decreases, then know you are on the right path. Again repeating, if your bliss increases and your suffering decreases, then know you are on the right path. Okay, let us read forward. I always believe that I have some expectations from some other people. That is all part of the Prakruti only. That's all. Don't worry about it. You know that this file one has expectations out of the other person. You see, you need to understand that I'm pure soul, not be the Prakruti who expects certain things out of other people and expects other people to behave in this way and the other way. You see, even if you don't understand, I never expect anybody to understand me. I just try to understand myself, says Deepakbhai. I don't expect other people to understand me. I focus 100% on understanding my own Prakruti only. How? You see, I want to understand this Prakruti, says Deepakbhai. This this one is the self, but being ignorant of the self, an illusion arose. You see, the extra result, the vishesh parinam arises from two things, Jad and Chetan coming together. This vishesh parinam is the Prakruti. In that, the Purush is the self, as capital is verily God, Bhagwan. But as a consequence of external pressure, Prakruti has arisen. What is all this? Who did all this? Awareness of I did arises, which is the vishesh bhaav, the new intent of view outlook that arises. And that intent is not the property of either of the two and the self or the matter, and that gives rise to the Prakruti. Nothing happens to the main Purush or the self. You see, the Purush means the self, and there is Purush means an original Purush. The mood original self and the worldly interacting self. With the original self, nothing happens to the original self or the mood Purush, but the worldly interacting self get trapped into vibhav. Purush means so the self is absolutely indestructible and the soul is also absolutely indestructible. However, one believes that I am destructible, something is going to happen to him, and therefore, just like a person says, I'm engaged now, pretty soon I'll get married, you see. Now, but if the engagement gets broken, then he says, then I'm not going to get married, you see. That's how it is. So only the belief change, the engagement was just a belief that I got engaged, but he never got married, so nothing happened. So only the belief changed only, but the soul never changed, the soul never got spoiled at all. It is the belief that got all of these external activities only, all of this in the science and the satsang is to change the belief only, that's all. The original self has not been spoiled at all. Nothing happens to the main Purush, the self, you see. As long as the Purush does not come into its own awareness, it will indeed continue to remain in the awareness of the Prakruti. This is the worldly interacting soul that the Gnani is talking about, you see. And it becomes in the Prakruti bhaav. Prakruti means unawareness of one's own self, you see. So bhaav. So that is Prakruti, you see. Now, somebody is asking. There is first is called the Vishesh Parinam, which is the extra result. And then Prakruti arises from extra result. Vishesh Parinam is the effect Prakruti, and Vishesh Bhaav is the causal Prakruti. Vibhav is the causal Prakruti and the effect Prakruti. Vishesh Parinam is the result. Parinam means result. Vishesh means extra intention, you see. It is neither of the non-self, of the matter is nor only of the soul. It is the two coming together and the extra, the Vishesh Bhaav view arises, you see. The Prakruti is used for from the charge until the discharge. You see. But most of his words of the Gnani Purush, when you enter into the when you through anger you are interfering with Prakruti, at that time the Gnani Purush Dadashri is saying, they are saying it is good to become angry, and therefore the Prakruti is now being bound, it is being created, it is being caused, and that is called the causal Prakruti, and then there is the effect Prakruti. And when a new body arises, then it is called the causal body, you see, or the causal Prakruti. And when the wrong belief goes away, then the causal body, the causal Prakruti stops. And then it is without any self in it, you see, but it is in his vision it is there. When you ask him very specifically, then at the causal level it is called Mishra Chetan, and at the effect level it is called Nishchetan Chetan. So there is a Mishra Chetan. At the causal level, it is called the mixed self, and at the effect level, it is called the Nishchetan Chetan. There is no self in it. There is no self in it. So in this chart, the self is not there. In the chart, there is the mixing of the self, you see. So there is more. So there is a Mood Purush, means the original self. It is called the absolute science only. And then the Purush is called the soul self. And then the Prakruti. And then Prakruti is called the aGnanta Atma, or the. And then there is some more. It'll come in the next paragraph. Let's go. Iron that is left on the seashore will undergo changes. The iron itself does not do anything in that. Similarly, sea air does not do anything either. If the air did that, then everything there would rust. But this is the coming together of two things that give rise to a third thing. It is an extra intent, bhaav. That rust that happens is the Prakruti. Iron is in the bhaav, the view, intent, and outlook of the iron, and Prakruti is in the bhaav or Prakriti. If you separate the two, Prakruti, the non-self, will be in the place of Prakruti, and Purush will be in the place of the self. As long as they are in one form, the rust, the Prakruti, will continue to increase without end. You see, the iron does not prepare to create the rust, because otherwise iron will have rust even in Sahara Desert, you see. But you see, when it comes in front of sea air, and then sea air, and the sea air, it's only if stone comes in front of sea air, then there is no rust. The iron, there is such circumstances are there of the six eternal elements. The matter and the soul are such that when they come in front of each other, in approximation with each other, a third entity arises, which is called the Vyatirek Gun, the extra view, the extra result arises, an extra result arises, which is neither of the original, either of the soul nor of the matter. In the same way, it is there where the anger, pride, deceit, and greed arises. The soul remains as the soul, the matter remains as the matter. However, anger, pride, deceit, and greed arises as a result of the extra view, intent, and outlook. And when one comes into the exactness of the soul, who am I as a soul, then there is no new vishesha parinam, no new extra vision, view, and therefore there is nothing to create any more new kashais. Belief Chetan is the self, and then the Prakruti. You cannot say I am pure soul is not Prakruti. You see, that is the right belief, but that is called the belief Chetan. Chetan means the self. C capital H-E-A-T-A, and Chetan means the self. Chetan is the self. I am pure soul. But you see, not knowing who I am, one says, oh, I am this body. But really, I am, it means that I am the soul only. That is the belief Chetan. But then he believes I am Piyush, and then it becomes Prakruti. I am Prakruti. Because you see the chair does not have to say anything until it gets pressure on it, and then he says, oh, I am the chair, you see. In the same way, the soul doesn't say anything until there is some pressure on the soul, and then he says, oh, I am this, I am that, I am this. Okay, let us read further. Somebody else asking a question. When the air of the sea, ocean, and iron, then there is the rust that happens. When iron comes on its own nature, no matter what kind of sea air is there, this is just an example. Iron will not come into its own nature. It is, you see. If iron could speak, it will say it is the sea air that caused me the rust. But no. But there is no life in the piece of steel, right? In the same way, we apply the 5 agnas, that I am pure soul. You see? You can, even if Nilesh is there around you, you will not get any rust. New Prakruti will not arise. The old Prakruti will vanish. Kat, rust means the new Prakruti. Kat is the rust, you see. The rust says, I am being affected by the sea air. I am being affected by this piece of stone that is rusting. I am rusting. Has got no awareness of the Chetan, the eternal element in there, you see. You see? So through five agnas is the exact way to really remain separate from the Prakriti, you see. You see, and everything, the Prakriti is leaving, the Prakriti is disappearing, it's dissolving. And the best way to dissolve the Prakriti is through the five agnas. The more when the more I became Tanmayakar with Nilesh, the more Prakriti was arising, you see. And in that, I was believing that I am doing it. It was actually happening. The rust was happening through the Prakriti because of circumstances around it. And we used to be in the belief that it is happening to me. It is all part of this, the Prakriti. Now we need to be pure knower and seer, you see. And we will become the pure knower and seer through progressive applications of the five agnas. This is very clear now. Gnan in Swabhav and Vibhav. This is the heading now on page 27 of the Prakruti PDF that I'm sharing. Gnan in Swabhav and in Vibhav. So, Purushottam in Gita means the absolute Purushottam. Vignan Ghan Atma, the absolute Purush. Mud Aksharatit. Akshar means Purush. Prakruti means Kshar. Prakriti means Kshar, that which is destructible. You see, to believe that I am this Prakriti, I am Chandu is Ksharpa, I am Shuddhatma is Akshar, and when you become absolute, it's called Akshar or Purushottam. Mood Purush and Purush. Now this is Purush is Gnanmay. Purush is the embodiment of knowledge only. Gnan in Swabhav and in Vibhav is the heading. Let's read. Somebody still asking? No. Is the Mood Purush the 300 to 360? No. More original Purush means the absolute self only. The one who is absolute self only. Kevad Gnan Swarup, you see. It has the Mood Purush, the absolute self has remained absolute self from Nigod to the Kshetra. Nigod, the bottom world below the universe, and Siddha Kshetra above the universe. The absolute self has remained Mood Purush, the original self has remained the Mood Purush only. And then there is the migrating soul which progressively evolves. No. Mood Purush is the Puran Purush, is the Kevad Gnan Surupi Paramatma. Is this the original soul? Is the mood means at the root. Mood means at the root, original. And that is the final ultimate Atma, the soul that always existed, eternal one. And there is that, and then the other one is increasing from 1 degree to 360 degrees. And that is called the Purush. From 1 to 360 degrees is the Purush. And then Mood Purush means is the absolute original self. You see, now let us read, and it's clearly evident in this Purush and Prakriti. We are being told, let's take a break. Okay, now time for break now. So we have now come to the break level here. So we will come to break level. So we will read it in the evening. Okay, now until then read it. Okay, now so we stop here on page 27 of the 399 page PDF. The iBook on Prakruti that is being shared. Jai Sachidanand. There is a break coming up.